Welcome to Hero Villains. Follow the battle between Kratos versus Doomslayer, the confrontation between the two most brutal icons of the gaming world. Kratos, the god of the God of War series, is the embodiment of divine anger and primal power. Originating from ancient Greece, Kratos once destroyed the entire Olympian gods before entering the land of Norse and clashing with the gods of Asgard. With superhuman fighting ability, superior physical strength, and a divine arsenal such as the Blades of Chaos or Leviathan Axe, Kratos is not just a warrior, he is a walking nightmare. His healing ability, super fast reflexes, and seasoned fighting intelligence make him a formidable opponent. Doomslayer is the main character in the Doom series and is the embodiment of pure destruction. No need for gods, no need for miracles. Doomslayer is simply unstoppable rage. He is a living, demon-slaying machine, having slaughtered thousands of hellish creatures without mercy. Armed with advanced weapons from plasma guns to the BFG 9000, the Doomslayer possesses extremely high speed, strength, and reflexes. Moreover, his indomitable will and kill first, ask questions later attitude have made him a symbol of invincibility. Before we dive into the analysis, please click the subscribe button. Please remember to turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thank you very much. Kratos was born a demigod, which immediately made him powerful. However, he was the son of Zeus. The demigods born from the big three, Poseidon, Hades, and Zeus, were stronger than the others. It is reasonable to consider Kratos stronger than Thor because Thor was the son of Odin. Odin is said to be weaker than Zeus because Zeus was a true immortal god. Kratos is the embodiment of tragedy, rage, and the desire for redemption. A father, a husband who lost everything because of blind faith. He does not forgive, nor does he seek pity. It was Ares, the god of war, who pulled him back from the jaws of death, who put the sword in his hand and made him slaughter his entire family in a fit of madness. This event marked the beginning of a bloody journey of revenge, a relentless war with the very gods who once held his destiny in their hands. Every step on the path of revenge is a step back from humanity, but also a resounding scream of a torn soul. Kratos is cold and cruel, but deep down he is still a broken-hearted man, haunted by memories and sins. Kratos was once a nightmare for the gods, living only for blood and fire. In the past, he was the embodiment of brutality, not hesitating to kill to achieve his goals. In the world of God of War, where gods and monsters constantly collide in fierce battles, perhaps no moment is more shocking than the confrontation between Kratos and Kronos. Kronos, the supreme king of the Titans, a giant entity with a height of up to 1,600 feet, is considered a symbol of primordial power that surpasses even the gods on Mount Olympus. With terrifying strength, he can crush an entire army with just a wave of his hand. But even such a mighty being could not subdue Kratos. When Kronos tried to crush Kratos under the enormous weight of his fingers, the sight made one think that this was the end of the Spartan god. However, in that moment, Kratos showed an unexpected tenacity. He not only escaped from the seemingly hopeless situation, but also fought back brutally. Undaunted by the mighty Titan, Kratos used all his strength, cruelty, and unyielding will to push Kronos back, causing him to scream in pain. Kronos weighed 7 million tons. When Kronos tried to slap Kratos, Kratos managed to block the attack and throw it back. That means Kratos could withstand an impact force of at least 1648954260000 newtons. Additionally, Kronos clapping his hands had a force of 164,895,426,000 newtons. In terms of weight, 1 TON is equal to 8,896.4432 newtons. That makes Kratos lift at least 18,534,983 tons. For those who say that feat makes Kratos weak, of course it's weaker than Thor, Superman, Hulk, etc. in the comics. But in terms of games and even movies, it's incredibly powerful. Do you think any MCU hero could do that? Kronos, by the way, is on par with Atlas, a primordial god who holds the sky on his shoulders. Not to mention, Atlas tried to fight Kratos and crush him, but Kratos repelled the attack and held Atlas back. No one can deny how terrifying Kratos is. Zeus, in his ultimate rage, transformed into a giant with storm-like strength. From above, he sent down lightning bolts of destructive energy, causing an entire mountain range to violently shake and crumble under the terrifying force of the blast. The ground split open, space shook, and Kratos, a mortal who had been betrayed and tormented by those he once served, still stood firm. Despite being struck by Zeus at close range with a lightning strike that could have incinerated all living things, Kratos miraculously survived. His body was covered in wounds, blood was pouring out continuously, but his eyes still burned with determination not to fall. Not only did he stand firm, Kratos also showed incredible agility and bravery when he avoided the next lightning strikes, a weapon that once terrified even the gods. He did not fight with blind faith or miracles, but with an iron will and a heart hardened by grief. Hades, the god of the underworld, tried to tear Kratos' soul from his body. However, in the end, Kratos killed almost the entire Greek pantheon. He has killed Ares, Hades, Poseidon, Hephaestus, Hercules, the physically strongest god, Thanatos, the god of death, and Zeus, the king of the Greek gods, as well as the strongest Greek god. Even if we take the Norse Kratos, he is still a badass. Kratos defeated Baldur himself, who was virtually invulnerable, had ice powers as well as felt no pain, and had the ability to heal himself. Kratos has the Leviathan Axe forged by the dwarves who created Thor's hammer. The Leviathan Axe can summon blizzards as well as deal massive frost damage and returns to Kratos like Mjolnir, Stormbreaker. Kratos has reforged and repaired the Blades of Chaos to the point where it now has Norse runes, making it both Greek and Norse magic. That means the new Blades of Chaos are stronger. He has killed gods, especially powerful ones like Death, King of the Gods, God of the Sea, and God of the Underworld, dodged lightning at close range, taken a powerful lightning bolt to the face and survived, returned from the dead, and can lift at least 18 billion tons. Before becoming a legend with the name Doomslayer, Doomguy was already a living nightmare for any creature that dared to oppose humanity. Without the power of the Dark Lord, he had surpassed the physical limits of a normal person. In the context of Hell opening up right on the two moons, Phobos and Deimos, where space was stained red with blood and fire, Doomguy stood alone against an army of demons flooding the planet. With his superior fighting skills and indomitable spirit, he repelled each terrible attack of Hell with his own two hands. The giant demons screamed in anger, but then fell under the absolute power of that lone soldier. Not stopping there, Doomguy brought war to the gates of Hell, tearing apart the space barrier to reclaim life for humanity with merciless violence. Even before donning the Doomslayer armor, Doomguy could take a missile straight to the face and continue fighting without flinching. No one can forget the image of him coldly ripping apart the body of a giant cyber demon, a creature that combines demons and technology without the need for a miracle. Amidst a nightmare of blood, steel, and red fire, Doomguy stands tall as a cruel fate for demons. The creatures are 30 to 40 feet tall, with sharp claws and destructive power, seemingly able to crush anyone who dares to face them. But for Doomguy, they are just targets to destroy. Without a trace of fear, he uses his bare hands to tear apart monsters many times his own size. In Doom 2, he faces the icon of Sin, a giant, hideous entity, known as the supreme ruler of Hell at that time. With the stature of a living fortress and an arsenal built into his body, the ruler was the nightmare of every living creature. But Doomguy, armed with guns, speed, and an uncontrollable rage, defeated even the embodiment of evil. He even reached the end of the final invasion, facing the Mother Demon, the mastermind of the entire hellish campaign. In a breathtaking battle of desperation and the will to survive, Doomguy struck the final blow to the heart of darkness, ending the nightmare with blood and steel. Samur Maker, wielder of ancient knowledge and technology beyond mortal understanding, placed Doomguy in the Divinity Machine. This was no ordinary device, but a machine created from a fusion of science and cosmic power, allowing the makers to observe the infinite flow of time, accessing the fate of all beings. It was powered by a portion of the Dark Lord's own power. When Doomguy entered it, shortly after undergoing that revolutionary transformation, Doomslayer was betrayed. The Sentinel priests, once sworn to be faithful, bowed to Hell. They left him in the darkest dimension, where all hope was swallowed. Others might have fallen before the betrayal, but Doomslayer did not. He was not destroyed. He became an eternal rage. The name Doomslayer echoed throughout the corners of Hell. He destroyed every gate, obliterated every fortress, and struck terror into the hearts of demons. No chain was strong enough, no wall strong enough to stop him. Doomslayer became a curse from which Hell could not escape. There was only one Hell, but there were countless other dimensions. This is because Hell is the first dimension of the entire multiverse and is infinite in size and not limited by time and space. This means it is the most powerful dimension of all. However, Doomslayer was able to rampage through such a dimension and cause damage to it. Subscribe to the channel, it helps us a lot, and moreover, you will get to see amazing videos every day. You are the best, thank you very much. The clash between Kratos and Doomslayer is no longer a normal battle, but a collision of two furies from two different dimensions. Kratos is the embodiment of cold cruelty, while Doomslayer is the nature of uncompromising destruction. When the war god rises, he opens by unleashing the ice-sharp Leviathan Axe and the infernal blades of chaos. Each swing is not only a physical attack, but also a rage, distilled through centuries of suffering. Doomslayer immediately responds with a super shotgun that explodes the space in front of him, followed by the screeching sound of the chainsaw like a call from the dead. Accompanied by a berserk state, each fight causes the ground to crack open. The air vibrates as if the world is screaming, because it cannot bear the pressure of two war machines competing to destroy everything. Every clash between weapon and armor created a violent shockwave, spreading like the explosion of a collapsing celestial body. Trees were uprooted, boulders were shattered into dust, and space became the battlefield of two legends. Kratos roared like a cornered beast, his eyes glowing blood red as he activated Spartan Rage. An ancient rage surged from his veins, transforming him into a living killing machine. Every punch, every blow was the crystallization of centuries of pain, betrayal, and loss. The explosive power distorted the space around him. Kratos was no longer a warrior. He was a storm, but the Doomslayer did not flinch. As his sentinel armor glowed and argent power surged through his every muscle, he counterattacked. With his infernal saw roaring and his crucible glowing like an ancient death ray, the Doomslayer charged in like a flesh and blood nightmare. The two collided, creating small earthquakes, destroying forests, melting ice, and collapsing mountain ranges in large chunks. They broke through all geographical boundaries, punching through wild forests, crossing frozen ice fields, and piercing massive rocky mountains. Every place they passed was erased from the natural map. Finally, the two war gods stood in the ruins of an ancient civilization forgotten by time. Neither of them said a word. Their breaths were like fire, and when their eyes met again, the nightmare seemed to have not come to an end. Both Kratos and Doomslayer were exhausted, their bodies torn, blood flowing like a stream, dyeing the desolate land red. Their gasps echoed in the ruined space, but the eyes of the two war gods still burned. There was no sign of fear, nor any mercy. Only fierceness, iron, and absolute confidence that they would be the ones to survive. Doomslayer roared. He lifted the crucible again, the light from the blade shining like the last remaining holy fire in the cold hell. His hand trembled slightly, not from weakness, but from the anger that was building up, waiting to explode. All signs pointed to the end coming. There was no way back, no chance for forgiveness. But Kratos, though so broken that he could barely stand, in the moment of life and death, he tightened his grip on the blades of chaos. Once shackles, now weapons of unyielding will. With a thunderous yank, he pulled the Doomslayer down with him into the abyss below. Finally, the Doomslayer rose from the pit, heavily wounded, and Kratos disappeared into the darkness. The winner was Doom Guy. I hope you enjoyed this fight. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Follow me if you like. That's today's video. Thanks a lot.